Hey there, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's go see what November was all about. All right, so as always, we start off with the Thermopel update. We actually got the new wristband, but the problem was we needed to implement a software upgrade since it didn't look as nice as we wanted. The button wasn't super round and it just wasn't really big the way that we wanted it to be. And so essentially we have this 2-pin cord right here that we usually use for charging that we thought would be fine for the software upgrade, but we actually needed this one that had 4 pins for us to be able to do the data transfer from the computer to the watch. And so while this 4-pin cable was coming, we actually had a call with our client. And during that call, one thing that they originally brought up was that they didn't want to do a pilot because essentially our wristband needs to be able to tell them the room and floor, or else the senior would have to wear one pendant that tells them the floor and room of the senior, and then our wristband, which tells them the vitals, etc. And the floor and room of a senior within a home is actually really important because in the case that it's a stroke or heart attack, etc., sometimes the senior can't talk, the wristband's far away from them, etc. So now they'll essentially just know exactly where to go to based on the location of the wristband within the home, not just externally. So now that's what we're looking to implement. The way we're looking to do this is with these beacons that essentially use Apple's iBeacon protocol to use Bluetooth to essentially just, while the wristband is going past these specific places, it'll essentially get all the signals from these beacons, and they therefore will be able to tell, okay, I'm on this room, on this floor, because this is the signal that I'm receiving, etc. We're looking to implement that, and hopefully by the end of December, we'll have this newer edited version of our product, and we'll be able to give it to the home to hopefully try and implement something within the end of January. Last month, I talked about how we pitched to Google X our idea to use atmospheric water pressure to give water to those that don't have access to it. They said that this was actually one of the things that they already looked into. And so what we did this month was we came up with a new idea. Well, essentially, the way our new idea works is we use these thing called quantum dots. Quantum dots are essentially these really small particles. And what we do is we put them on solar panels, and since they're on solar panels, they're actually able to capture a lot more light. The reason why is because since they're really small, that affects the wavelength of light that they're able to absorb. So because they're super small, they're just able to absorb a lot more light. It's kind of like how when you take graphene and you put it at a really small scale, so on the nanoscale, graphene is really strong. You can make carbon nanotubes out of it, etc. Whereas when I put it inside of a pencil, I can very easily break my pencil. Whereas on the nanoscale, graphene is very strong. Similar in this case, where we have these dots that on a small scale are able to absorb a lot more light than they would if they were a lot bigger. What we're doing now is we're essentially using these really small dots called quantum dots to actually get more energy from the sun. And we read this research paper that said that they're 85% efficient, whereas solar panels are only around 25 to 30% efficient. And what we're now doing is reaching out to these people that made this paper to confirm some of the materials that they used, some of the things that they did within their experiment and why they did that, to really clarify our understanding. And the way that this will then work is we'll use the energy that these quantum dots have gained from these solar panels to power something called a reverse osmosis system. A reverse osmosis system is what we use in our water here in Toronto, etc. The way it works is you have a membrane, and then you have a lot of pressure on one side, and you pass water through this membrane, and then clean water comes out on the outside. And because this membrane is only allowing really small molecules to go through, only water will go through. And since you're applying a lot of pressure, it'll allow for the process to be faster and allow for the water molecules to go through rather than the dirt molecules. The way that we're allowing for the pressure to come on that one side is we're utilizing the energy from the quantum dots that are on the solar panels. And now the thing that we're looking into are the very specifics, so that now when we present this pitch deck to Google X, they know the very specifics of what needs to be done next to go forward and implement this. And so that's what we're looking into and going forward with this project. The third thing that happened this month was I interviewed Ali Madhavji. Ali is a managing partner at the Blockchain Founders Fund, and the Blockchain Founders Fund is a venture capital firm where they give capital, connections, and other resources to startups to help them succeed. It's really interesting because usually I'm the one being asked the questions, but then this time I got to ask somebody else the questions. And I really liked how I got to figure out the dynamic of a conversation. I had to figure out how to ask specific questions so that I'd let the conversation flow in a way that was beneficial towards the audience. It was a whole other ball game. I really just wanted to say thank you to Arman and the others at The Smiley for really helping set up this interview. And if you guys have any feedback or you'd love to check it out, I'll make sure to include the link in the description and email as well. All right, I guess that's it for November. For this month, December, I'll be focused on trying to figure out how we can figure out the room and floor for a senior with the wristband, and then also trying to figure out the nitty-gritty details of that Google X hypothesis solution that we came up with that's all for me. If you're also wondering the reason why I'm wearing a toque, it's because I'm cold, and I thought, why not? But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.